Hello, and welcome to Squatch Talk. I'm Pat. This is a weird day for me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we're live. Yeah, I'm live. This has been a very bizarre day. Done 2 debates, one on Bigfoot, one on Flat Earth, and I'm just kind of trying to sort it out in my head because I came out of that Bigfoot debate just feeling very bizarre. Everybody seemed to thought I did a good job, and that's cool. I hope I did. I
think you did. I have lots of notes for what to go into next time.
Mm-hmm. And that's fair too. It was all kind of on the fly, and I wanted to be respectful of my opponent. Which it was more of a discussion. Like here I am having a discussion with a primatologist.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal to me. That's not a small thing. So we're going to bring Brian into the discussion here. What's up, Brian?
I don't know if you can hear me yet. So
no, nobody can hear you, dude.
Can you hear me now?
Nope, nobody can hear you. Nope.
Are you messing with me, Pat?
Nope. Nope. I'm not messing with you. Hold on. Let me fix it. Hold on. All right. You're good.
You're so funny.
Hey, Brian. What's up?
Well, man.
What's up,
yeah,
well, Brian, good to meet you. I don't think I've met you before.
I don't think so. It's good to meet you too. What are you guys up to?
Pat, what's weighing on your mind about this debate?
I missed it.
Oh, you didn't even see it?
I didn't even get to see it.
Oh wow! Like I tore that. I won the debate. Bigfoot's real. She conceded.
Oh, okay. Who was you arguing with?
No, it wasn't an argument. It was a discussion. So yeah, it was all cool, legit. Like go back and watch it when you get the chance. Like it was a very good discussion.
It was actually a very good discussion with someone who is a primatologist and has that formal education, but is interested in the subject and is merely troubled by the collective lack of evidence that we all are.
That's true.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, it was very interesting discussion, and they were both surprised. Even Erica and Katz, the moderator, were both surprised when I brought up the fact that Jane Goodall is also open and interested to the possibility of Bigfoot being real. They were both like, huh? What? Like, I stopped them dead in their tracks.
Yeah, I was surprised that they were surprised.
Ignorance.
That video of that part of her interview where she talked about that has really made the rounds.
Yeah. Agree. In the grand scheme of things, just the discovery of other large apes hasn't been that long ago.
Right.
Relatively speaking to how long we've been on the planet. So
yeah,
I don't know why so many people are so close-minded to the idea that this thing could be walking through the woods. So,
well, Erica, she had brought that up about the Billy ape, but her point was, okay, so there was some evidence to bring the scientific community in to discover the Billy ape. And fair enough. And that's the way it went down, And so the scientific community came in and they discovered the Billy ape. It's a real thing now. It's a documented species of chimpanzee, albeit very big chimp.
Yeah.
And that was a good point. And I kind of made my point to be, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing here. Like I'm trying to bridge that gap the best way I can with you guys, there's something here worth looking at, So
But even
come look at it.
there's so many things that get constantly discovered. Wasn't there like a some kind of weird mammal that resembles an anteater or something that was discovered in South America recently? And this thing weighs like 300 to 400 pounds. It's the size of a large hog, and it was fairly recent. So
Yeah, there are a few there's a handful of even large new species that are discovered and recorded every decade or so. And
Wow.
yes, most of them are typically smaller species, but there are large animals that are found. And like I was saying last night, for remote areas, the road I used as a backdrop for my last video. Go east of that road, you have to go almost 100 miles before you hit the next paved road going between those two highways. That's a lot of remote area.
A shit ton,
Yeah.
I'll say.
You can't do that on the East Coast.
No, you can't. Yeah, you might. There's places where you could go 100 miles, I think, in the Appalachians. But no, well, maybe 50 to 100 miles.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 50 to 75, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you have such old, worn down, stubby mountains out there.
Yeah, but they used to be as tall as the Rockies.
Yeah.
That's right. So, hey, Leon, your mic's muted, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just eating chips. I just got in. Sorry.
Oh, crunch.
Fish and chips. Are you eating fish and chips?
No, well, at work, yeah, I cooked fish and chips for the clients there. So that's what I did. Not sure if the fish was good though. I'm like wondering if it's gone bad a bit. So I should be getting a phone call about an hour and a half when puking their guts out and shitting their pants. Because what do I know about cooking? I'm a guy. Give me some craft dinner. We're laughing. You did pretty good tonight, Pat.
Huh?
You did okay.
Yeah. Okay. Or hey, I'll take that as good.
No, you did okay, man. I mean, who else has done that before? You did pretty damn good for the first person doing it and did it the way you did it. It's all practicum for you for sure.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Which is like why I'm here, kind of wanting to talk about it.
Yeah, decompress and debrief it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just for my own personal reasons. I'm not. That sucks. Like I'm not trying to make this a personal thing with me. But it had a profound effect on me, Leon. I don't know why. I can't explain why. It left me stunned.
In a profound way, do you mean in a way that maybe you got caught with your pants down? You mean that maybe she convinced you that there's not a Sasquatch? What do you mean by profound?
No, like nothing like that. It's just it was a good discussion. Obviously, if you watch it,
yeah,
nothing but good discussion. Very simple.
Yeah. Great.
She was curious.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was the best thing I could ever ask for. Somebody that's kind of curious, And I don't know. Just at the end of it, I was like zapped.
Well, so to borrow from what I would hear from the people I know in the spiritual, mystical, psychic community, what you did in this debate, you went off to in this other group and you exposed yourself to a different kind of energy.
Yeah.
And the people had it was a lot of the same attitude that you see in the Sasquatch stuff. It was the same song but a different tune.
Yeah, exactly.
They were all saying that you're begging the question, and the funny thing is, most of them were begging the question with the presumption that Bigfoot doesn't exist at all. So why are we bothering to have this debate?
Yes, but the two people involved, my opponent and the moderator, were both curious.
Yes.
So I mean, mission fucking accomplished.
More so than many of their guests.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
I don't know. I'm curious now. I gotta go back and watch this thing. So You seem pretty fired up about it. So,
Well, I think you handle yourself pretty good. I mean, I was kind of warning you last night about you have to come from a total different angle because the audience is set up a certain way. And when you talk about confirmation bias and their priming, they already have this kind of attitude. And, it's like the first time you were on earlier today, this morning, or my morning, not yours, but,
Right.
I was in a way, I was glad that it turned out that she didn't show up, because it gave you a chance to just be like online with the enemy, but in an interview style way, which helps you kind of relax a bit more too.
Yeah.
But the problem with the scientific method, not that we don't use it, and there's a problem with the scientific method, but it's the problem with when we're immersed in the scientific method. If you're doing a debate like that, especially with somebody who is, I think she's got a doctorate, you have to do it in a different way, which you did fairly good, I thought, fairly well with Pat, which was you weren't trying to declare anything. And when you read some of the chat comments, because I did skim it a bit today, just before I got online so I can get my head around it. There was one guy say, well, why don't we get a Bigfoot, high-paid Bigfoot person on here then instead of this guy, or some stupid comment like that. And that's what you're dealing with. There is this automatic blindness towards it. But the problem with
what someone would think there's a high-paid Bigfoot expert person.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, so I mean, they have no idea what's really happening out here, except for what we've been working on for the last 3 years, trying to negotiate through. And when she's talking about the fossil record and stuff like that, I just thought, oh man, she's got a big hole right there. And I don't think she for me, I know if I was talking to her, she would have walked right into that one. And you did touch on it. Yeah. Out of all of these so-called fossils she's talking about, we got 4 teeth molars, or 3 teeth molars, and that's it for one species. So to speculate, and that this is where I would have made her walk right into a hole here. I said, so do we have any animals or creatures that we've recently discovered that we don't have a fossil record for?
Right.
And the next question, and where I would lead her down to, is in British Columbia. We have a law here in British Columbia that you can't kill any unknown species. You get a $250,000 fine. And the reason why we have that is for species we haven't discovered yet. Mm-hmm. So we have
such a rational law.
Yeah, isn't it though? And the interesting thing about it is both of the animals we just found last year, one was a weasel, a style of weasel, and another one was a style of bird. We don't have it at all in the fossil records. Right. We have no bones of them. We never found any of them, ever. We accidentally caught both of them.
Yeah, so that's that's why I asked her how much chimpanzee fossils do we have, and she admitted freely hardly none, basically.
And that's where you would have expanded a bit more on it. Again, what you're trying to do is just assist her as well, because honestly, she's the greatest person to debate, because she is curious, like you said.
Yeah, no, it was a discussion, not a debate. Right. It was never a debate.
No, but still, you could have evolved to help her when she's saying, well, I have a problem with this, about why can't we find them and all this kind of stuff. Well, if we have all these other so-called species, and again, the other thing she was, sorry, you guys, I'm bouncing a little bit because I'm still briefing from, unfortunately, I just found out I had a client that OD'd, so I'm kind of negotiating that in my back of my head here. But when she was talking about, sorry, just totally brain farted me when I said that other part there. I'll hand it over to Brian. Hi, Brian. I met you before? I don't think I've ever met you.
I don't think we have.
Oh, okay.
There's not much to hand over to me though, Leon, because I missed the debate. So I think Pat thought I watched, but I had a lot of crazy stuff go on today. And
well, in a video I did a few weeks ago, my longer answer to what is Bigfoot, because Pat threw us with this quick closing question: what is Bigfoot? Yeah, right. Simple question.
Yeah.
One of the things I pointed out there is in studies of DNA, of our DNA, of this species right here, there are 6 different distinct ancestors that we have discovered through DNA that we have no fossils for.
Right. Yeah, and that again, that's the other thing I brought up was said the fossil record is incomplete, and she conceded that point.
Right.
So you're right. It's like immediate. It's like, yeah, that's true. So
and again, where she was going to, and that's what I remember I was talking about, was she was saying, for millions of years during the Paleolithic age and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, well, they never existed during that era. What are you talking about? Why would they be back in those ages? That age, I don't believe they were around in that age. Am I wrong on that, Steve, or did I miss the wording of how she worded it? Because there's this evolution that happens when mammals start coming on board, and the idea about, well, what, all these different discrepancies, with the cranium and all that kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, yeah, but if you're a scientist and you believe in evolution and you believe in how evolution is affected by environment and also food sources, there's going to be physiological changes and shifts that you normally wouldn't see, because we haven't discovered those pieces yet. When you look at when we were before we were upright, how do we know that when we're looking at bones, when the animal all of a sudden, the part we're missing, the transitional part where we're missing, is all of a sudden walking upright? Well, because you can tell by the bone structure that the bone structure has now evolved and developed a specific way where if it wasn't upright, it would be walking pretty weird on the ground with that bone structure. It wouldn't be necessary to walk on the ground the way, like on all fours on the whole thing. So, yeah. And again, she was the one, and I talked to you about this before, was she should have been doing that discussion with Meldrum.
Yeah,
she would have. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
He would have just been engaged and all that kind of stuff. But Buttercup girl there, who was there before, it was just like, it drove me mad watching that. I felt so embarrassed for Meldrum. I thought, this chick is just. I hope we were not live, right? Okay, I don't want to offend any of the ladies, but I just saw.
Yeah, we're live. We are live, Leon.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a live button up there. So.
Oh, there is. Oh, sorry, you guys.
Yep.
I don't mean that in an offensive way, but honestly, it was an insult to me to have that level of person talking to Meldrum when again, Erica would have been stellar.
Erica would have been better. Yeah,
100%. Because he would have articulated. Well, he would have said to her, "How we know is because of the motor mechanisms, as you can see it in the print." And then he would have expanded upon how that motor mechanism of energy discharging into the print is explaining to us what that foot is like and what the bone structure is like.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, you held your. I thought you did okay, man. I mean, honestly, it's not an easy job to go there, and she was not.
You need a lot of. She has a lot of availability of information from her education and from her youth, that she is closer to that education and having absorbed all of that information.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like if you guys go back and watch it. I kind of made a joke after she did her presentation. I was like, okay, I concede. like you outclass me in so many ways, but I was able to hang with her on some terminology. I was able to talk about gigano, that kind of thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was a very bizarre experience. Being Leon, sorry, there's motorcycles or something going on here.
Correct.
Raptors. Yeah, velociraptors, obviously. Brian knows all about those. At the end of the day, it left me weird feeling because I
gotta admit, I really loved they eat people.
Yes, the joke they didn't get. They were like, what? Uh-oh, we should have never we should have never let this guy on air. Like they just totally almost 360 turned away from me. 180 turned away from me. And I was like, it's a joke. It's a joke, guys. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. That's the setup for the scientific mind. The problem with the scientific mind, it gets very analytical that it gets blinders.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you last night when we were talking there about, all the scientific research they did on paranormal, mind reading and astral projection and all these studies they did back in the 50s and 60s. They took every bloody scientist hook, line, and sinker. And again, it took an illusionist to say, this isn't what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And Randy Amazing goes in there and he puts parameters under a controlled study, and of course none of them could do any of these things they were at. And there's still $1 million sitting, $1 million check waiting for the first person to prove any kind of thing like that. So, right. But the way you stuck also with the idea of, listen, there's just something. How did you word? What's the word you kept using? You kept using one word over and over again to say there's some kind of something out here. Do you remember what? Yeah, phenomena. And again, she was flexible on it. That's what you're looking for when she's kind of she's going, well, yeah, that's kind of strange and stuff. The other thing I would have punched in, being from my angle of education, would have been when you bump into people who have explained that they've come across a Sasquatch and they have post-traumatic stress disorder where they're not sleeping for 2 years, they saw something. And I would have said it with a very serious face. Because you can't, it's not just like it's not just I saw a Sasquatch and I can't sleep for a day. I can't sleep for 2 years. I can't go back into the bush. I'm on anti-anxiety and anti-depression. I'm on sleeping pills because of this event that's happened to me. So there's a credibility part of it. Now I have a counterbalance argument that I've used sometimes on people on Bigfoot, about how can somebody mistake an identity something. Because the brain can fool us, unfortunately, but.
Right.
I
was just trying not to be, matter of fact of totalitarian about it. I wanted to keep the discussion civil. So I wasn't going to say, look, people have PTSD and there's nothing you can say about that.
Yeah.
I just wasn't gonna go there.
Yeah, well, your power pocket.
It worked out.
The power pocket you were sitting in was, I'm Pat. There's something here that's got me curious, and I've been investigating it. I'm looking at what it is. That's your power pocket. You're not trying to be something you're not.
Correct.
And they were trying to hope that you were trying to be like some of these others, because you and I watch those same debate channels, right? You always have the other oddball guy on there that always thinks he knows everything that he's talking about, and it's like. Dunning-Kruger effect. They totally think that they know everything that they're talking about with this certainty.
Right.
A good scientist from their side would never claim with certainty, because they know nothing is certain in science, because it's an evolutionary thought process of discovery, of looking at evidence and being flexible about shifting it when they find updated data that they need to.
Correct.
That helps them move forward in the topic, whatever topic it happens to be in. So.
Yeah, and she seems open to that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So that brings us into this category, which is environmental DNA, which she brought up. She brought it up before I did.
Yeah.
And I jumped on it, and I was like, "Hey, we'd love to get environmental DNA. People like Brian are finding tracks in the woods. How about we bring a team of experts in to examine the environmental DNA?" And so she got that. I saw that switch flip in her head.
Yeah.
It's like a chicken and the egg thing. It's you're right. And
that's the point that Steve made yesterday, which went brilliant when he said it, which was the idea about finding the waterways that are coming off the area, the region, and how did you word that, Steve? Do you remember?
Well, you collect that out of the drainage. You collect that water through a filter for 6 or 9 months or so.
Right.
And what you do is you sequence all of the DNA that's in that filter, and that's how eDNA works. You sequence everything that's in the soup, and then you need a supercomputer. This is where it gets super expensive. To take those billions of pairs of strands of DNA and try to align them and try to figure out which ones go with others in the set to make longer and longer strands, and hopefully get more or less complete genomes of everything that's in the ecosystem.
Yeah, and I think like you said, that was good how you did that, Pat. You didn't, and she succeeded to it. She just said, It's cost a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm like, like this is a thing Bigfooters can do. So, Brian, can you conduct an environmental DNA study on a trackway you find?
Come on, Brian, get on.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I just need some funds for that. If we can get us some sponsors to come in and
Yeah, what do you need?
billions of dollars and stuff. I guess
Yeah, like $500,000, $1 million,
$1 million. I'll give you that, really. Just if you want to write a check, I'll give you my PO box. You can get that sent to me.
Okay.
Don't you have a credit card?
Yeah, I'll take credit card. Yeah, I got
Right.
an app for that. But
Yeah,
I want to reflect back on something kind of that Leon said that kind of struck me kind of odd was the PTSD comment.
Hmm.
And this kind of hits home for me, but I kind of thinking about it after you said that. I saw my first, I don't want to say first, because I think I saw one when I was a year before that, but one that I am 100% sure of was in September 2018. And it changed me. I ended up leaving my wife of 24 years, like 3 weeks after that happened.
Whoa.
So, and I did think about that until you said that.
Hmm.
And since then I've always tried to wrap my head around like what changed in me to end a marriage of that long. And man, maybe that's part of it. Maybe
actually,
that was
you're snooping up the right tree there, buddy.
yeah. And I was
Because
like,
when you have an incident in your life where your whole belief system has been shaken and challenged, it goes right across the board of everything in your system.
Yeah.
And
but he believed you thought Bigfoot was real before you saw it, though.
I was open to the idea. I was 50.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought there's no way everybody's this crazy. And then I also thought probably a good majority of them are just misidentified. And so I needed to put my own eyes on it. And that's when I got really heavy into it. And 2018 was the year that I spent 62 nights in Southeast Oklahoma. And I was able to finally put eyes on it. But, it wasn't like I just went to a campsite one day and walked around and said, oh, look there, I found Bigfoot. I mean, it took work. You know what I mean? It took
Yeah, sure.
a lot of miles on the ground.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe
and so
that.
when I finally had this daytime sighting face to face, and I knew exactly what I was looking at. It did change me a little bit. So it kind of shed a little light on that. So I'm glad you brought that up. So
Now, how near was that encounter?
about 60 yards, and I was with a buddy of mine. So, and it was an area that we've researched all that year. And we just kind of started focusing in on, different things around there that kind of, some of it's heavy pines. There's some little pockets of, like pecan trees, things like that. And so we started basically marking things like when we got housed, where we was, anything like that, like tree structures. We started marking it all on a map, and we finally zeroed in on this one small area of hardwoods. And me and another guy had went in there, and that's when we got to put eyes on it. So
we're going to have to come back to this at some point, Leon.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, welcome.
This is somewhat off topic. We're here to try to help Pat figure out why his brain is so scrambled after this. One of the things I saw a comment here. No, I can't see it. I forgot how many people think the Bigfoot community are crazy. So yeah, you exposed yourself to a much larger world.
Yeah, and I did not
to part of what I said before.
Crazy. Yeah,
but part of that is when you're in the soup, how can you tell the soup's good?
Yep.
Well, we do that here. I mean, we talk about. I mean, we debunk bullshit in the Bigfoot world, right? Like Leon and the moose tracks, All right, so fair enough.
True,
we debunk things here,
That moneymaker said, at the president of BFRO, it's true, unless of course he was never on site. What's BFRO stand for again? Bigfoot field researcher. Oh right,
yeah,
the field at all. Matter of fact, they didn't even show up there. They made a phone call.
Yeah, so here we are swimming in the Bigfoot waters, debunking bullshit in the Bigfoot world.
Well, I would shift it because I'm not here to do that. I'm here to educate people so that they can you don't have to debunk it. If you educate them, they'll say, this is not helpful for what I'm trying to do. And they just move past it and move on to what they're supposed to be trying to do.
Yeah, I agree.
We've had enough of again, critical thinking, Bigfoot BF page there, they're stuck in the system. They don't see that they're stuck in the system, of course, but imagine if you had a Facebook page in your critical thinking site on Bigfoot, and for the last 15 years you're hearing the same things coming up that you talked about 10 years ago, already debunked. And it's just chronic because you have all these hundreds of new people coming online now that are being really interested in this topic. And people, again, just the other day, somebody sent another video out there and I just thought, holy smokes, this is like from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you think of this Alberta Sasquatch sighting here along the Trans-Canada Highway? It's not a Sasquatch. It's been debunked. The massacre theory that Davies is talking about, this was done 10 years ago. It's already been out, and there's a new documentary coming out after this documentary I just finished being a part of. Is going to come out and just totally dissect that whole thing out. And the good thing is the guy doing the documentary, he's got Davies on film for like at least a couple of hours. No one's ever seen this footage. And he's going to put that in the documentary. And he said, I don't know if I should do it. And I said, 100% do it. We're not here to hide anything, And this is the same guy who came after me, making sure on the critical thinking site, and said to me, Leon, make sure that you let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Because I thought, I'm not here for this. I'm not here to be on another frickin' Facebook page where people are not assisting people to be educated.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, he at the beginning, I wasn't too sure if he actually realized that because when he reached out to me and said, would you be in this documentary? I said, yeah, I'd be for sure. And I wasn't too sure if he connected. Do you realize I'm the guy you just said a couple of days ago, make sure the door hits you on the ass on the way out? But I want to say something.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that was you.
Yes, so I made sure when I was being interviewed by him, I mentioned that to him twice. But he has every right to do that because you've heard me say it numerous times. If I ever declare to you any evidence that's saying that is a Sasquatch, you have the right to release the hounds on me. The problem was John had so much garbage and he was burned and financially used by the Bigfoot online scene by supporting people that deceived him, that he thought and perceived that I was one of them. So he has every right to work and negotiate and navigate through. And after, of course, we talked and we did the interview and stuff like that, he's totally changed his whole perspective of who he thought I was, which has happened a few times. Like tomorrow night or Monday night, Tex is interviewing me. And he thought I was a complete dink. And I like Dex, and I'm thinking, so when someone comes online and they have a certainty tone to them because they actually do know what they're doing and they are trying to educate people, it's not about me. I mean, I looked at Joe Pass the other day, No BS Sasquatch, or I can't remember what his title is for his channel. He has more subscribers than I do, and I've been online for 5 years. He's been online for a year and a half, I think. But I'm not online to have a whole. That's not my goal. I'm looking for the right people. And it's taken me a long time, 5 years, to find the right group of people so we can start shifting the narration and the priming that we've been hearing for the last 15 years of the sacred, secret, supernatural, or not supernatural, the number one researcher, which is a finger pointing in a forest with a narrative coming out of a guy's mouth saying, this is a Sasquatch. Without them saying to us at home, explaining, how do you know it's a Sasquatch and why is it a Sasquatch? It's a Sasquatch, Leon, because this is this and this is that, and this is how we know because we've seen them do this and this and this. Okay, that gives me something to work with. But if my brain is getting primed from watching a screen like this, which we all fell for because we were interested and curious about this whole thing, we carry trusting regulators, and we like the topic. We're curious about the topic. What we didn't realize was, unfortunately, there was people online. At the beginning, I'm sure they felt that they were trying to be sincere, but at one point, you have to turn your own critical regulator to what you're doing and finding out, what am I saying? Am I saying it to increase my channel views and subscribers?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's going to cause more problems for us because we're doing a shift now, and that's what was. Look at the scientific community is Erica. That's the scientific PhD people I deal with. They're not against all this, but give them some meat and potatoes. For heaven's sake, give us some meat and potatoes. Don't just say something. Show us how you know that. That's education. I don't know why everyone's worried about that. You want to know what you're looking at, or don't you? And that's why the scientific community can't take anything. I'll shut up here in a sec. Sorry, you guys.
I mean, the cool thing about Erica was that, like, she's actually curious. She's actually willing.
Yep.
And when the way I laid it all out with, hey, we can't do anything here without professional help.
Yes.
It's almost like I kept saying outreach.
Yeah, that was good. That was good when you did that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do. Is that what you said? Like an outreach?
An outreach, yeah. Like, and so, hey, we need you guys on board. Come and come look at this phenomenon.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she was open-minded to that. She was curious. That's the thing. She's curious.
Yeah. And I would have hammered her. I would have hammered her on the tracks again too. And how I would have hammered her on the tracks is she would go to, well, tracks can be fake and tracks can be do this. I would have thrown that.
She never said that though.
What's that?
She never said
no,
that.
That's what I mean. I would have. Yeah. She could have went that way, but I would have hammered her on the tracks. I would have hammered her on the tracks and kept hammering on the tracks to show her that she's not qualified to recognize valid tracks. And if you're ever on a debate like that again, or I don't know if they would do this, I would have showed them 3 deer tracks, and I would have said to them, "Here's 3 deer tracks, or here's 3 tracks. You guys tell me what these are."
Right. Yeah.
And one of them would have been totally faked, and I would have created the fake track. And then I would explain, how would I know by looking at these 3 different deer tracks which ones were fake compared to which ones weren't? And I would explain systematically to them by the pressure that's going into the ground, because if a live creature is putting a force on any force, the way it's sitting and the force applied to that force is going to be very unique. It's not going to be stamp imprint. Even though if you're not trained in tracking, you look at deer tracks, you think it's like a stamp. Well, it's not just a stamp if you know what you're looking at.
Fortunately, I was able to kind of make that point through Meldrum and her understanding of who Meldrum is.
Yes.
So I was able to make that point and just say, I mean, we have tons of casts and tracks, and Meldrum's a world-class scientist of human evolution, foot morphology. Like, what better? And she totally agreed to that. She conceded that point.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, Pat, one of the processes you're probably going through, because I've been where you are many a times, especially when she does her introduction and she's, I got a blah 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 blah, and this I have studied blah 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 blah.
Right. Yeah.
And there's lowly Pat. Oh, lowly Pat. I'm the same way. I'm not a PhD. I don't have a doctorate or anything like that, but I deal with academics a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be the academic. I'm academically trained. I do have degrees.
Yeah, I had to back her off that. Yeah.
I'm not. That's not what I'm here to do, and that's not what you're here to do.
She kept trying to drag me into that academic. Well, how did they get here?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, dude, that's not me.
Let's first try to establish that there's actually something there, and and try to determine how it's there and how we can observe it better. Then we can work on the how did it get there.
Yeah. And that's what I kept bringing it around to. I kept bringing it back around to, I don't know how they got here. That's not my cup of tea, even though I can talk about, Gigantopithecus if you want, I could talk about that. So I mixed it up with, I understand, relic hominids.
Well, and what I was trying to share a little bit before is when you're in a debate or a discussion like this, and you realize that, again, you're talking to a worldview that also has a world vocabulary, and it's an academic vocabulary. It does kind of throw you off a little bit. And part of this, I'm glad you're doing this, because it is about debriefing and decompressing and giving yourself a chance to breathe. And as the week goes by, you'll reflect on it, and you'll have those moments where you go, oh. But that's okay. You're going to use that in your little kitty pack here down the road as you keep doing more of these.
I've already watched the debate. I've watched it since I've been on it.
Oh, I would have watched it about 15 times because I want to find out what my whole areas are that I need to improve on and understand. And am I articulating correctly? And am I articulating in a way like, that's why I think Steve's so brilliant with what he does with his channel and his narrations. I mean, most people probably, oh, this is too long. It's over 10 minutes or 20 minutes long. I can fall asleep to the guy and just put it on loop, and I'll just sleep through the whole night because that subconsciously gets into my head as I'm dreaming, and I actually retain that information while I'm sleeping.
I'm programming you, Leon.
I know. I want to live in Washington State.
Oh no, you're getting the wrong message.
Oh, sorry.
All right, yeah. What do you think,
We don't
Brian?
want people to know how bright and sunny it is all the time here. No, it's raining all the time.
No.
It's nice here in the Okanagan. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Pat.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think what you did is pretty cool. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting that you can bring people from different sides of it and have like an honest talk about it, you know, because I think we do get labeled as being a little weird or crazy, you know, by a lot of people, because we are looking for something that, you know, doesn't exist, right? And so I think it's cool that you can bring someone on and just find out why they think the way they think, you know, and then it gives you a chance to explain why we think the way we think, you know. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward. I want to watch this one, and I hope you do more of them. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to. Yeah. Hey, and here's the other thing, Leon, Steve. So I told Erica, I said, you're welcome to come in to our talks anytime you want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So it could very well be, you know, that I can convince her to come on one night on a Friday night or wherever, because she asked me. She said, "Well, what nights do you do it?" I'm like, the only really reliable time is Friday night. Like, that's a good time for us to get together and talk about Sasquatch, you know. And it could very well be that you know, that she might accept that invitation one night.
Well, it would be great to get her and Shannon Hill on. Do you know who she is?
No, I don't know who that
She
is.
did the same thing I did. She studied the Bigfoot online community for 5 years as well. And she went through every web page, every YouTube channel, thousands of videos. And she has quite a heart for the Bigfoot. Out of all the cryptid and supernatural and paranormal channels and that, she has this big thing for Bigfoot people. And she's a great person to talk to. And those, you look at, when I was in school and stuff, you didn't just stick with what the teacher was telling you, because their teachers were pretty wise. They said you go to the counter arguments all the time, and you learn how to negotiate, hearing the other counter arguments, and also recognizing maybe inappropriate thought processing that's going on in regards to whatever the debate happens to be talking about. And you go to your opponents because it sharpens your capacity to realize what you need to up your game on. And that's what I appreciated about watching you in the debate. It wasn't that you were outclassed, but you certainly were out educated, say.
Yes, definitely. I admit that. Yeah.
And so it's not about, because you can keep building on that, and you will, because that's your personality and that's my personality. It's not about me looking stupid. I'll just sit there and I'll say, I have no idea about that, but I don't understand this. And I don't understand when you're saying, well, these tracks are out here. Well, listen, if there's tracks out here, you can identify tracks. And I would have showed them those tracks that came like from Kelowna here, where the guy's saying these are Sasquatch tracks. The thing came and destroyed my garbage bins and all this. And they post that bloody picture. And I would say, now, is that a Sasquatch track? And she would say, well, I don't know. What kind of track do you think it is? And she would say, I'm not sure. It could be human. And then I'll say to her, let me show you how I know it's not a Sasquatch track. And then again, systematically educate her.
Yeah.
She's an academic, and she may be in the bush, and she may be an observer of wildlife in the bush, but that doesn't mean she knows anything about how an animal operates when it's putting its foot down in a ground.
Right.
And it's not about her being stupid. It's about us using each other to academically upgrade what we're trying to do. Well, say, a good question. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole debate, Pat, yet. But a good question would have been to her was, well, you know what, Erica, if we did feel that they were out here, what would you recommend us to do?
Well, she basically said environmental DNA.
Well, I would have pushed her a bit more. What do you mean by that? What else can we do? I wouldn't have just let her stop with one answers. Because,
well, I mean,
and that's what you did, but I mean, I would have pushed her the same way.
She just went to the, it'd be great if somebody found a femur bone, and, I understood where she was coming from. I didn't think that it was an unreasonable position.
No. And I'm not talking like last night when, Thomas was kind of strong with you. What are you going to say about that, Pat? This is not the atmosphere we want when we're having a discussion with people.
And that didn't happen.
No.
But at one point, I flipped the script a little bit. I said, I just stopped her, mid-sentence. I said, Erica, do you think we should kill one? And she said, no. She said, if I had one in my sights, I would not kill it. And I would, not advocate for any, if somebody was trying to put a group together to go kill them, she said, that's not cool, dude. And I agreed with her. I said, yeah, I don't advocate for that either. So
is the weird vibe, I mean, I think it all went really well. So is the weird vibe from you feel like maybe you should have had more information available, just kind of more organized thoughts to be able to fill in?
I don't know. I just came out of that feeling very strange. And
what's strange?
I think Leon, it's because I was outside my comfort zone. Yeah. So I immediately I wanted my wubba back, and Brian is my wubba. So here we are. I got my wubba. I feel good now. I feel safe.
And now I have to go. So
yeah, no, you cannot go. You're my wubba. So no, Leon, you want to talk psychology? I'll talk psychology with you. I'm self-analysis. I think it was, I felt weird because I got outside the Bigfoot world.
Right. And
that weirded me the fuck out, dude.
Right. Because being in the Bigfoot community, it does affect you to not be able to be objective with what you know.
It's a blanket.
Yeah. And that the more you do with this, the more you stretch this muscle, the more you realize, I talk about this stuff all the time, and it's not on Bigfoot channels. Because I mean, my area of what I do is systems studies and belief systems. So it fits into any topic you want to talk about, whether it's paranormal or anything because it's all about why do people believe what they believe? Why do you guys believe what you believe? Are you sure you're believing what you actually believe, or are you carrying somebody else's belief of how you think you should act?
I don't believe anything.
So the idea is, what should I be believing anyways?
Yeah, well, belief is the wrong word.
Well, no, because everyone has a worldview, and that worldview is a belief system. But the problem is most of us don't carry our own personal worldview. We carry one that we picked up of what we think we should be living our lives as. And that's why most people are doing their lives instead of actually knowing what it means to be in your own life, in creating your own life. And we're born in a culture that as soon as you're bloody well born, you're put into the collection of things, the doing of things mean I have value and worth. No, it doesn't. It never has, and it never will. But unfortunately, those are things that we can do to make ourselves feel upgraded and feel good about ourselves. They won't. It's a counterfeit way of thinking that you're doing better than what you actually are. And when you have awkward feelings, sadness, depression, whatever in your system, and you start judging yourself, well, let me think about addiction. I just told you guys one of my clients just OD'd on the weekend, and he's just a young guy. It's a shocker when you have people who are taking fentanyl. They're not taking fentanyl to kill themselves.
Fentanyl, yeah.
They're taking fentanyl because they don't have a sense of value and worth about themselves. And that was plucked out of them a long time ago. So they slowly got chipped away. psychologically chipped away. You know, you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of garbage, you're a piece of this, from a parent or somebody. You know, where they lost the sense that they've always had great value. Shitty things happen to us. The problem when shitty things happen to us, we feel the effects of those shitty things, and our brain gets confused with those feelings of the shittiness of experiences, feeling that somehow that's me. It's not you. Life stuff. It's not you. And that you got to negotiate that stuff through that.
Yeah, I agree.
So sorry about that. Just got back from work.
No, yes,
you're there.
Yeah, I know Brian's got to take off here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
One other thing I'd like to address here in the chat was Audrey was saying that the chat was quite rude. There were elements of the chat that were rude. There were elements of the chat that differ from the typical Sasquatch community chat, in that these people were looking for academic debate. They were looking for logical fallacies that were being invoked and finding them in some cases, and trying to. They were looking for cognitive biases and logical fallacies and criticizing that. And that's not rude in their culture.
I agree. I can handle that. So what's up, Brian? You gotta go, bro?
Yeah, I got to get to going. I was going to say, after Leon's speech there, I feel like I'm going to sleep better tonight.
Well, good.
That was pretty uplifting for me, Leon. I needed that today. Today's been a rough day for me. So
sorry, man.
He was going through that. I was like, oh man, like, dang, I feel good now. You know? I'm going to sleep.
Good.
But it was great meeting you guys, and Pat, I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. So, and
yeah, man.
I want to go watch.
Brian, I was serious though. I think Leon and I ought to talk to you and try to get some information about the experience you had.
Okay, yeah. Whenever you guys want, just holler at me. So,
yeah,
Pat knows how to get a hold of me.
I will be the catalyst. Yes.
All right, you guys take it easy.
All right, later, Brian.
Better day for you tomorrow. Wow, interesting. You should ask her, if you can, say, what are you doing next Friday night once you get together with us?
Yeah.
I may do that. I may reach out.
I think will blow her brain out of her head.
I agree. I'm sitting here. Trust me, when I was in that situation, I was thinking, when I invited her, like if you watch towards the end, I invited her. I said, Erica, you're welcome on my platform anytime you want. If you're curious about this, you know, I have other people that are like-minded, kind of like me, you know, so they're not rude. They're not, you know, bad people or whatever. You can come into the discussion anytime you want. So, and she seemed very interested in that. And so did Katz, the moderator. Yeah. He did too. Like, he was like, okay, like, I'll do it. Like, they were both very interested. Mission accomplished, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Interest.
Yeah.
They didn't walk away from that going, oh yeah, like I thought, the Bigfoot world's full of crap.
Yeah.
You know, I brought it, I fucking laid it down, and no, there's some, like, wow, you just piqued my curiosity, you know, and let's all agree. I mean, that's what it's all about, you know. It's
education. It's about educating each other. And that's the thing, is like all these people who believe that the academics are out there to do this, whatever this thing is, like everyone's always yakking about. They're not. Like I said, I don't have any problems with the academics. If I came across something that was quite unique, like even she said it in your interview there, that would be fantastic. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Wouldn't that be fantastic? He said it. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not that. It's just that, again, I'm not blaming the people who are on YouTube that are following channels. I'm blaming that. I don't want to use really the word blame. In some cases, I do want to use the word blame, because it's just straight out garbage that we've been picking up for the last 10 years on some of these channels that are out here.
Yeah.
But it's not training people, because that's what we're needing. We're needing to assist people to train them to know what they're looking at, why they're looking at it, and why it may be a Sasquatch, so that we can move it forward, so that we can take that information. So when we have people that are going on these debate channels, like you did, you can say, yeah, but you know, the question I have a problem with, the question is when I come across an 18-foot track or 18-inch
track.
You know, like I don't know what to do with an 18-inch track, and I'm trained in tracking, and I know that it's not a bear, a double bear or grizzly paw.
Double bear, yeah.
How do I know it's not a double bear or grizzly track? Because the claw marks aren't there. Also, I can see by the imprint and the pressure ridges that are in the track that it's not a foot and then another foot that's coming in on an angle. That's what a bear track is. It's
I
One
brought
of the things
that
you'll
up.
frequently find, if it's a bear track, you'll find that they get in so close to the track that the picture stops at the toes, so you can't see the claws.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I brought that up. I said sometimes people in the Bigfoot world mistake double bear tracks for.
But when you take the picture so close that you can't see the claws, that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they mistake it because they see it. They think it's a Bigfoot track.
Yeah.
This is my point.
Yeah, and Pat, one thing you're going to do for the next couple of days is you're going to overanalyze and dissect absolutely that whole bloody interview, and that's part of the process, man. You're just processing it. It's part of the process. It feels icky. It feels, and you'll catch yourself saying, "Oh, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have said that." Yeah. You will down the road, man. Just much patience, much grace, much gentleness in your process. Yeah, it's great. It's practicum, you know.
Yeah,
that's all it is. You haven't been in these waters before. You've been on these waters before, so you can speak the language and that. And you're sharpening up your capacity to think differently and also start to develop a scientific way of thinking so that when you're talking to academics, you're not coming across, and that's why I like that you were Pat tonight. You weren't Pat the researcher, you know, or Pat, Bigfoot expert, you know, and you were Pat. You were just asking questions, and I don't know about this, and I don't know why so many people have reported these kind of things, and people have bumped into them, and then next time you'll elaborate even more on that point. Right. Next time you'll elaborate more and more and more. I mean, when I came online, I knew I was going to. My neck was designed to have its head chopped off because I know I'm going to be viewed as the guy who's the critic or the non-believer, the guy who's seen one. That's how stupid it is sometimes online. You know, the guy who's seen ones actually doesn't believe in them. Yeah, okay, that makes absolutely that's my business to me, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I know that it's like when I'm teaching courses, it's not fair for me to think that the people who've come and paid me money to come to my courses to understand what I know in my head. That's why they're coming to my courses. And then as they get the foundation building blocks of how to perceive and look at things, then they go, I was duped myself in my own belief system, my own worldview. Not about Sasquatch, just about their own lives. You know, I'm still following my family's tradition of what they believe in regards to God. What if I no longer want to be a Pentecostal, I want to be a Presbyterian. Oh, you can't be a Presbyterian because our whole family's always been Pentecostal.
That's the wrong brand.
Yeah, it's the wrong brand, even though there's 30,000 other brands out there in regards to Christianity. And I get harped on that. Like I think, Jude, or who was he? It was last week. He was on for a little while with us. I think he messaged you when you did this post. And when he says, well, I can see, I don't think that you're a believer in God and all that kind of stuff. I said, I have 2 theology degrees, so I don't know what you're talking about there. I didn't say I didn't believe in God. Right. I said, but the problem is it's the same thing, whether it's God or religion. There's no sacred cow when it comes to the scientific method. You are allowed to ask the right question, and God even, I said this to him when he's online, I said, God tells us to come reason with him. He says that to us.
Yeah.
A lot of Christians don't want to reason with him because we're holding a religious faith that's been a traditional one of our family. And if somebody,
a lot of Christians are afraid to reason with God, they want to grovel at the feet of God.
Yeah. And so when they're looking at, how Scripture was put together and developed and who did that and all that kind of stuff, that can be pretty intimidating to a person's worldview. Because you don't fit in with your family anymore. You can't talk that talk because you don't buy what they're saying anymore. It's a pretty scary thing when everything's flipped upside down and the box is flipped over and all the stuff falls out. Now you got an empty box with, I don't know who I am anymore. So,
yeah.
And that's the same thing about, sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Well, to be fair to Erica, she has experience debating Christian fundamentalists.
Yeah.
So the earth is 10,000 years old or Noah's Ark or what have you, right? So she was like, this is awesome, you know, like talking to me. She thought it was like great, you know, a good discussion is better than, you know, debating a Christian fundamentalist, right? So yeah,
Well, it's always better to not need to be adversarial.
yeah, and I told them both, if you go back and look, you know, if you remember or whatever, I told them both, I said, I don't have a dog in the hunt here. I don't have a cherished belief of what I want Bigfoot to be. I just know this phenomena exists. I want a fucking explanation, you know. And there's, in my mind, there's a good starting point, you know, flesh and blood, obviously, undiscovered hominin, if you will. That's what I said outright, you know, like, so.
I want to make a little comment here because Gary was talking about, I found if one asked for help, which I'm asking God for help, who in their right state of mind sent, his angels, awesome, isn't it? Well, it's not about, again, it's not about having a belief in God and calling out to God. It's about carrying a belief system that you're not calling out to God out of guilt and responsibility. You're calling out to God out of empathy and compassion. Those are two different states when a person's vulnerable. You're not calling out to God because you need to make sure you do your devotions this morning. Every day you better be doing devotions. You know, this rigid style of thinking, when you hear me talk about open systems and closed systems, and a lot of faith organizations, doesn't matter what denomination it is, can be open or closed. A closed system is categorized as using cult techniques. And I mentioned to you before, I just got out of work and undercover for like 3.5 months in a cult. And getting a lot of the people there out of it before we went after them legally and get them in the appropriate places they were supposed to be in to begin with, because it was supposed to be a recovery center for addicts, and it wasn't. It was using the vulnerable people who were addicts to try to basically brainwash them into believing their belief system, which was actually going to cause more damage psychologically and spiritually to them in the long haul. So, I mean, I'm not against I'm not against faith and belief and spiritual thinking and crypto and Sasquatch. I like the mysteries. There's a reason why we've been in it for 10,000 years. As far as our brain finds, there's something of value there that seems to help us as a culture as cultures and societies. But that's all I'll kind of say about that. There's actually a part of your brain right here where the spiritual center happens to be that receives information, and as part of the imaginational part of play when you're a child, right or wrong or good or bad in play. It's just enjoyment of education and learning about things. So
yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, sorry about that little rabbit trail. Go ahead, Steve. You look like you want to say something, buddy.
Not particularly. I'm mostly listening to what you were saying. But the upshot is his brain is going to be in this little vortex for a couple of days.
Yeah, maybe a little longer
as he processes the new experience.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like getting your second shot of the vaccine. It's just going to happen.
I agree. And
you did okay. Yeah, you did okay, buddy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're saying. When you're doing that kind of stuff, you feel like you should be doing it. I could have. Well, you could have, but you did okay. It was your first shot of practicum, and you did I think you did a damn good job. So you didn't look like an idiot. You didn't embarrass us. When before I got on, I watched that post because Steve messaged me, "Hey, do you want to talk?" But this is like an hour ago, and I just got home. And then I thought, then I saw your post that you put on there, and all the comments below your post seemed like, oh my God, it sounded like something really bad happened.
No, yeah,
I know, but I didn't know that because of the way it was worded. Like I got kicked out of the group, and I think I can't remember who wrote that one down, and all this kind of stuff. I thought, what happened today? And so then I went and watched the documentary as quick as or the debate or discussion as quick as I could, so I can get online. So I had a brief idea of what's going on, and I thought he did pretty good. She was respectful. You were respectful. The moderator was respectful. The comments were kind of out there a little bit.
Yeah, Katz loved it. Like, he loved it, dude. Like, he's so used to people being on that channel and, like, arguing back and forth. like talking over each other. And yeah, so the civil discourse, if you will, was brilliant.
That could have been very disorienting to him.
Well, totally. You would have thrown in two things like phrases. I had to think about Steve too, because I thought, you can't help Steve, because you probably did this too. Is if I was there, how would I respond to that question? How would I have said stuff? And I would have been throwing stuff out way ahead of them, so they wouldn't know what to do with it. For instance, I would have said the whole idea about, Mike Shermer's baloney kit, Carl Sagan's, Shannon Hales. See, these people would know all these people I'm talking about. And they're thinking, wait a second, this guy knows these people that I know. Not only that, and he likes them.
Like at the end of the day, I was willing to put things out there, which eventually I did, but it was my goal to get questions asked. So I wanted Erica to say whatever she had to say and then ask me a question. So how do you explain this? So I felt like I answered every question she threw at me, like fairly well. And it's like, to me, that's a home run, It's like, we're not crazy portal guys. We're not, like, oh, you come out here in the woods, I'll show you Bigfoot, girl. Like, we're not that, It's like, no, we can have a reasonable discussion. And that's why I feel comfortable inviting her here onto this platform.
Oh, totally. We would have a great time with her. Steve, you and I would have a great time with her. She'd be like, this is crazy. These guys aren't anything at all. Like I thought this was going to be. Like,
just have a good discussion with her, be respectful, obviously, she's curious. And so, I feel comfortable bringing Erica into this platform. And I think her mind would kind of be blown, man, like with you guys, for sure.
Hey, Pat, did she say which version of the Patterson tape she's seen or video she watched?
She did not say. She just generally said, she found it to be a strange film. And she admitted the proportions of the
bottom line is she could not dismiss the Patterson Gimlin.
Yeah, no, she couldn't, but she admitted though that the proportions on the body were off. Like where the knee is in the wrong place. The shoulders are not right for a human. Things like that. She admitted that. You go back and watch it. She admits that on air.
Yeah.
So.
And again, that's what. Again, from her side, it's good for the Bigfoot community to watch the debate. She's academic. She's not dismissive.
Agreed.
She's looking at it with a curiosity.
Yep.
Because she's curious. And it's not about this idea that. Sorry, you guys. I'm still munching away here.
All right.
That's what most academics are like. You get the odd one that's just against you. Remember, it wasn't none of the people on the panel or on the show were like that. It was the people that were in the chat that were like that. Sound familiar? Sound familiar to you? The people in the chat, not necessarily these guys here, but
our chat's awesome.
Favoritism.
Of course. But she admitted all that. She admitted, she's like, the joints are in the wrong place and the shoulders are weird. It's a strange film, but that's not enough for me to say there's an undiscovered hominid in the woods.
Right. But there would have been a difference if Meldrum was sitting here and she was saying that, and then he started saying, but the reason why you're seeing that muscle and you're seeing that style of bone structure, and then give her the inside. See, that's a difference between high resolutional thinking and low resolutional thinking. Low resolutional thinking is just skips the top of the information. When you can give a narrative provided to an academic that talks about the details of what's going on behind the scenes that the general population wouldn't recognize. So when I'm looking at a track, Leon, people say, well, Leon, how do you know that's a Sasquatch track? How do you know that's not a Sasquatch track? Because again, that footprint that came in with the measuring tape across it, people are saying, oh, I can't believe you think you can tell a footprint like that's the Sasquatch track. Well, I can't. So how can I? Because you can tell if you know what you're looking for. It's not about the track, you know, it's like body language. You're not looking for what you think it should be there. You're looking for what's supposed to actually be there. If it's actually what the visual appearance that's going on in the track. You can't hide energy. Something something in the ground, it's got energy. And in that, there's weight displacement and there's also material displacement. And it has to be done a very specific way, especially the tracks have got to change every time it's done. The pattern is the same, but the energy placement will be different every time that foot hits something. It might have to walk over a log. It might have to somehow move itself just a bit because it's a bit of a hill. It might hit a part when it goes into the ground, it's more sand to the left or more softer earth to the left, and rocks might be onto the right side of it. So there's going to be an energy displacement depending on what is happening. People are not, I know people are trained at that level, but it's fun to learn that kind of stuff so you can say, no, that's not what's going on here. And it's cool to learn. It changes when you're looking at tracks or these ideas of what we're talking about. Critical thinking or the scientific method, it actually opens your brain's capacity to see more options in your life when you're absolutely overwhelmed. Low resolution thinking doesn't let you see any other options because it becomes subjectively introverted and paralyzed because you can't see options because your brain's actually stuck in a box.
Yeah, or garbage. You have garbage in your fucking brain.
Totally.
See, you have no good filter.
It's like the question I asked in my last video: who's using your brain when you're not?
Good question.
But
I mean, I did back that up with 11 casts that were from the PG site. A living witness, Bob Gilman. So I mean, it's funny that we never really went down the road of the minutia of the PG film. She actually kind of conceded that it's a strange film. So I never had to go down the road of all the factors that were involved with that. The camera angle, the 2-week thing, I really didn't have to go down. She was very receptive to it, actually.
But there were a lot of other details that could have filled in that could also have made it more interesting to her and given her more things to investigate.
Yeah. Well, at one point, and neither one of them knew this, not her or the moderator, Katz, when I brought up the Sierra sounds.
Yeah.
They had no idea. They were like, huh? What? And I'm like, yeah, there's documented, recordings of vocalizations that'll blow your mind. And they are actually documented in 1972. That's verifiable, right? And it is. So whatever you think about the Sierra sounds, that was recorded back then. And they were like, huh? I'm like, yeah, check it out.
Whatever you think about it, you are stuck with the fact that it was recorded on the technology that was available at the time.
Just like the Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah.
So, and I even framed it that way. I said, it is the audio equivalent of the Patterson Gimlin film.
I thought that was a good way to put it.
It's locked in time, So it's not a 2021 brand new thing where you could digitally manipulate whatever you want audio wise, and you could obviously, but yeah. So I don't know. I thought it went well. I just can't help. It made me feel weird, guys.
Well, that's normal. Remember this feeling because you'll have it a few different times in different levels, and
Probably will. Yeah.
But each time it'll be a little less, and you'll also know so you've absorbed different ways of responding. You want to hear the tough questions because the tough questions give you a better way of learning. How would I actually answer that question? I was trying to get that last night when I asked you guys to ask questions. And then also get them to answer, them to answer the same question they were asking you, so that you would have a reference point of familiarity. That's what I love about Steve's videos is the way his brain thinks and the way he can articulate. When you listen to his videos and you listen to the auditorial of how he expresses things, that's actually subconsciously is building a neural net pathway in your brain, a structured way, perceptual way of perceiving and understanding when you're looking at stuff. It fits onto that scaffolding instead of this shallow scaffolding that we have. That's a Bigfoot. That's a Sasquatch. Why? Because I've heard it 1,000 times. This means that this is a Sasquatch, but no one's ever said why it means it's a Sasquatch. It's just parroting. Everyone's parroting the person before. Again, going back to belief systems and religious belief systems, everyone's parroting what everyone has heard about their own personal religious belief system. But no one ever wants to check it out because it's easier just to go with the flow of what the belief system is. Because I got too many things to worry about. I got to pay bills. I got a family. I got kids at home. My work's driving me crazy. Lazy thinking is part of the brain's way of negotiating over being overwhelmed. So
I agree. And the cool thing is, I think Leon and Steve, is that, if I could bring Erica into the conversation one night with us, she would find that we're more like her than she would think.
Yeah.
I think I represented that a little bit today.
You did fine, Pat. Don't
you did fine. Here's what I would suggest. If she's at all reluctant, if you're going to put her on with me or with Leon or with someone else,
it would definitely be you.
Okay. Point her to our channels. Point her to our channels and have her look at what we've got there.
Right.
And then she can know a little bit about us before coming on the show with us.
And that would pique her curiosity. That would pique her curiosity. 100%.
Well, I think her curiosity is already piqued.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what we're trying to do. Remember, we have to win the academics over because we haven't been winning them over because we're not giving them anything with meat and potatoes. We're not letting them know that we understand how they think and we think the same way. And that's why it's easier, again, for academics to brush us off because they have lives as well. And they have other research they're doing that is actually research that they are interested in. They're not
getting paid for.
Yeah, and getting paid for. Yeah, totally. And so, it takes time. It takes time to shift things in any system,
It does.
Again, when I remember when back in the 1800s, I can't remember who the British guy was who went down to Africa and he found he came back to Oxford and he was notifying all the professors or what kind of creatures he found. And he was describing giraffes, hippopotamuses, and they just laughed at him. They said, these things don't exist. What are you talking about? A thing with a 12-foot neck,
Same thing happened.
The dinosaurs
in America with Yellowstone. Geysers and hot springs.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And because they're not there, they're hearing it. Doesn't fit the box in the culture of the mind of whatever the scientist happens to be at the time. Well, the idea again when she was describing about all these shifts and changes that it has mixed parts to it. It seems. Well, so does a platypus. Platypus has mixed parts to it. It doesn't seem to fit what we would think it's supposed to be. We don't know what we're dealing with. So maybe it is those things. That was the other thing too, is when they were trying to explain a platypus to the Oxford, they had no idea. They just thought the guy was in that. Well, it's got a duck bill. It's got a beaver tail to it. It's got these claws on it. It's got this poisonous claw too. Imagine if you've never seen what a platypus is, which is this cute little thing on the ground, but you're hearing a narration of what this thing is. Your brain's filling it in with pareidolia of what you think the shapes are going to look like in the person's brain, of what are in your brain, of what this person's describing. And they're not even close to it because they haven't seen it. But when you see it, it makes total contextual sense. You know, oh, that's a giraffe. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Holy shit, look how they fight. They take these long necks and smack each other with it.
Right.
You know? The legs are
But
so
from
long.
the description alone, you're sure it's something that was drawn by a Looney Tunes cartoonist.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because it's just so bizarre. So I mean, this stuff is primal stuff, you guys. Our brains been doing this fill in the blank thing for the centuries. It's not going to just go away because we talk about academic stuff and we do scientific method and the baloney. That's why we have the baloney detection kit. That's why we have norms, is to keep us on target, to make sure that we're not projecting unnecessary information or data onto what we're trying to discover about any idea, any topic, any belief system. So
yeah, exactly. Belief system, which I don't subscribe to. I don't have a belief system.
Oh yeah, you do.
yeah, thanks, Steve. I was about to jump on that one too.
What on Sasquatch? I don't have a belief. I don't believe they're anything. I just want to know what they are.
Well,
right?
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that if that's not a belief system?
That's not a belief. That's a truth for knowledge, like quest for knowledge.
Well, listen, the three of us here, when we say belief system, we're not saying it the same way as the other definition. When Meldrum says, well, do you believe in, when he's asked, do you believe in Sasquatch? He says, no, I don't believe in Sasquatch.
Right.
It's the faith mentality. That's not what we're talking about when we use the word belief.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So we're using the idea of, from what we know and understand today, is it probably is there a higher probability that this is a believable interpretation of what I'm actually perceiving as going on, compared to it's a Sasquatch. I will never explain to you why it's a Sasquatch, but I'll keep telling you it is a Sasquatch. And I'll point my finger at it too, because it's
the phenomena is real. That's what I always default to. It's a real phenomena, no matter what.
Right.
You know, even if we're all hallucinating, or we're all nuts, or we're all just talking to each other, working each other up, whatever the psychological phenomena is, it's a phenomena.
It's called mountain madness. Isn't that what it's called, Steve?
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one, Leon.
That's a good one. Steve sent me a great video today about, I think there's a clinical term for it too, but they call it mountain madness. And mountain madness is where you can hear voices, see people. You can actually believe that people are with you, and you talk to these people and hang out with these people, and then you think they might be in trouble. Like I've heard it before in different angles.
And whistling and singing in the woods and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of these things that we hear when people are talking about, they think they've had an experience with Sasquatch. They hear the whistling in the woods. They hear the talking in the woods. Gee, could this be a related phenomena?
Yeah. A couple of good questions here too. One of them is get out of the classroom and get in the woods. We have to provide them stuff so they'll be curious to come out of the classroom. The other great one too was Pat brought up at the octopus. The octopus is such an interesting creature to me.
Yeah,
it's so bizarre. It just doesn't fit in anywhere.
Yeah,
that's from Larry.
Yeah, I did. I used it as an example, in the debate, if you will. I did use it.
I think they mistook your use of the term supernatural as paranormal supernatural, spooky supernatural.
Yeah, but I pretty much clarified that I'm not.
It doesn't mean you might have clarified it, but it doesn't mean that they heard your clarification, because their brain has also got cognitive dissonance.
I think they understood that.
Well, the host and the person you were talking to did. The chat. That's what we're talking about. Yeah,
chat's gonna think whatever they think. Like as we speak now, they're gonna think whatever they think. But yeah, I tried my best. And
you're doing good, Pat. Don't even say this. Anyway, Steve and I are listening to how you're talking. We've been both where you are, man. Like, just trust your process. You did good tonight, man.
Yes.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
So don't overthink it. You'll process it just subconsciously. You'll have probably pretty cool dreams the next couple of nights about the whole thing, and it'll be up totally different other imagery stuff. And
you'll definitely be having some dreams.
Yeah. Your girlfriend might want to sleep in a different bed because you'll be bouncing all over the place. Right, Kim? Or does he do that already? Flailing.
She just shut the bathroom door. So it's like, I don't want to have anything to fucking do anymore with this tonight. Pat's been on air literally since 11 o'clock this morning. And it's 12:20.
So help me. Why was she not online when you first were going to do the debate? I didn't catch that.
It was just a miscommunication, I think, between them and her. Not me, obviously.
No, but it was like the wrong time, or was it?
Yeah, she somehow the time got screwed up. So which sucked because I had promoted this, and then it's like turned into me and Katz it's just kind of like interviewing me, which was cool. And then I had to repost the debate, and it's like I felt like I missed my window for the Bigfoot world to come into the debate.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I love? I love when I'm doing new water. I'm in new ground, and I'm doing a channel, and not everyone watches it because it's not about everyone watching it. It's about me being ready for the time when I really need everyone to watch it. This is just practicum. You did a practice. You did an apprenticeship opportunity to see what it would be like to do this. You got a lot. That's the data you should be focused on. And you got two of us sitting here who I agree you respect pretty good, and we're both telling you you did a good job, man. You don't have to feel like you didn't look like what you should do one time if you're doing a debate is whether going to get in the debate, add some levity. You say, well, just before we start, just reach over here, get a tinfoil hat made up and put it on your head. Okay, I'm ready. And then go, pull it off. Because that's what you're doing is automatically you win the audience and chat over, and they realize that, okay, he's not coming at this as a tinfoil hat.
I cut a really good joke in the debate. It was later on, but when somebody asked me, what do they eat? I said, well, they
was fantastic.
And both of them went, they took that seriously. And I'm like, I was sitting there like, I even did the bump. And they still
weren't sure.
Yeah, they still weren't sure. And I was like, it's a joke. And then they were like, they laughed their asses off.
Nice. That's what we're talking about. And that's what you want is your levity with your information, levity with information, levity.
But there was a beautiful level of shock there. You'll have to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
they both went, what? Huh? Like, oh, shit, we brought the wrong guy on this show tonight. Like, he just said they eat people. And I'm like, it's a joke. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing is they think we're gullible. They can't even tell.
Right.
That's gullible, right? That's totally gullible.
Good point. Yeah. Totally. They fell for the joke too hard.
Yeah. And you use that in your next debate. You say, a lot of people, when we talk about Bigfoot, they think that we're the gullible ones. Well, last time I was on a debate, I said this joke or this question was asked, and I said they eat people, and all the critical thinkers, people took it hook, line, and sinker. Everybody is just
they were, dude. And so, yeah, both of them were like this. They were like, like, wow, it's a joke. Yeah, trying to be funny. Yeah.
All right. Well,
and Larry, we're not talking about the flat earthers because that's not the one that has left Pat with his brain off in a vortex somewhere.
No,
he's trying to find it.
Yeah, that's the fucked up thing, man. Is that I had to turn around and do a flat Earth debate.
Oh, did you do that? I was wondering.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, man. And
is the link below?
Huh?
Is that link below?
It's not below. No, I'll send it to you, Leon.
Yeah. Because it'd be fun to watch that one too.
Yeah.
You're kind of dealing with you're dealing with academics, and then you go back to dealing with flat earth. It's like, totally different.
Yeah, flat. Yes, it is.
On a dime, you have to turn it into a dime because you're still debriefing from what you just went through, like you said.
Yep, and I did, and that's why I wanted to. I just wanted to wrap myself in my little Sasquatch bubble tonight.
We're giving you hugs, Pat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
snuggles for you. You put your snuggles around you. We're hugging you here, buddy. You did fine. You did fine. You did
yeah.
fine.
Well, thanks.
Well,
I appreciate it. Like, fine's good enough.
well, fine is good enough.
Yeah.
Feel fine. You did great.
Well, thanks.
There.
I have issues.
It doesn't matter how many times I'd say you do great because Steve and I are watching you. I mean, we've been where you are. It's like no matter what a person says, you don't own it quite. So it's going to take you a few days to decompress and work it through, and then you'll own it. And then when we say you did awesome, man, then you'll be able to finally receive. Oh, I actually did pretty good. You know, you're not here to be the perfect guy. You did it first time. There's no 100% yay.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
People. So educating yourself and educating them to make them curious, to get them to come online with us so we can also talk with them, and then maybe they'll bring us on their shows, and then we can start bridging this gap like you were saying.
Yeah,
bringing out a palm leaf or an olive leaf to you to help us. We're not here saying we have the answers, but there's a different style of thing that is now happening in the Bigfoot community that wants the academics to assist us. Teach us what you need. Tell us what you need. Help us find out what we can give you that's more solid. And when they'll come back and they'll say, well, we need this and we need that. We need that. How do we find this? How do we find that? And how do we need that? How do we get whatever this other thing is you're saying?
Yeah.
Because they have it's not just, I mean, she's a field researcher, unlike other people. She's
again, I mean, she was the one that brought up environmental DNA.
Right.
And I pointed out to her, we can't get that. We can't get it. It's expensive. Who the hell's going to come out and do environmental DNA from a Bigfooter that calls up what?
Yeah, but if someone is already doing an eDNA study of a large drainage to assay the wildlife that's in that area, and that's not really happening a lot yet, but when that happens, we can ride along that information.
Yeah, but
they'll collect it anyway. They'll collect it anyway.
Primates.
Yeah. And the other good thing too, she even admitted, she says, and it's still new. It's still new, new science. So there was nothing. What Helton was asking, when was this debate? That was a few hours ago, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean today.
Yeah.
I posted the link twice now in chat for the Bigfoot debate. And yes, I did do a flat Earth debate later on. I'm not trying to get.
Are you going to link the flat Earth debate in Squatch Talk? I do want to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you guys.
Okay. Why don't you post it? Why send it to us? These people, the people in chat probably would be curious to watch it.
Yeah.
Go. What?
Put your mic off. If you guys are gonna have a fight, we don't need to hear any.
No, we had an oven incident.
An oven incident. Oh no! At 11:29 at night.
That could be worse than microwave popcorn incident.
Yeah, I set the fire detecting alarms off at work today.
Yeah, I would have
French fries in an oven.
Yeah.
For that half hour that you were going to do.
Jeez. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up then.
Okay.
I will send you the link for the other debate, and it was fun. It was interesting. I'll reach out to Erica and try and get her on one night and just talk with us. So just remember, if she's on, or Katz, who was the moderator, if either one of them are on, we're just talking to them. We're not trying to prove anything, but you guys know that. We're just having a discussion. That's all.
But like I said, and I was serious about it, send them our channels, and let them browse through our channels so they know who they're talking to.
Sure. Yeah, and that's what I did. I made sure that Erica knew. I sent her a video of me, so that she knew what she was getting into. I'm not some asshole or something.
Well, you're an asshole for sure, but that's irrelevant.
Gullible. I'm not asshole to you guys. Come on. Anyway, yeah. So if Erica is willing to come on, we will be respectful to her. Is all I'm saying. But I know you guys know that. So.
Oh, we're starving to talk to somebody academic. Trust us.
Yeah,
So I mean, to get Sharon Hill on here too, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Either way. I'm gonna wrap it up, even though we have the highest freaking level of audience we've had all night. So
I appreciate that, everybody.
Yeah, and yes, thank you, chat, for participating. Thank you, viewers, for watching live. Like, I appreciate that more than you know. Smash that like button.
Yeah, and click the bell so you get notifications. Notifications.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's how YouTube algorithm works. So,
well, most people with channels and subscribers, if you don't click the bell, only 30% of your subscribers are going to get heads up.
That's weird. I never had that problem.
You gotta click the bell. If you don't click that bell, you're not going to get notifications. The majority of people won't.
So, and if you're on the computer and you go to YouTube and you go to your subscription section, hit subscriptions, then everything will be there for the, what's latest updated subscriptions. So.
No, that's why you have to click the bell.
But click the bell.
170
click the bell.
We're having 170 subscribers. We couldn't figure out why he kept getting, most of his people weren't doing it, and they found out why, and that's why. You got to click the bell.
Click that bell.
Click that bell. Slam it, baby.
Yes, smash that like button.
Yeah. That's from Sasquatch. Watch Squatch talk.
Oh my God. That's pretty good. Hold on, let me record that real quick. That's awesome. Wait, I can go back and record it. Fuck it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's going to be the intro to my show now. Good job.
I'll take a couple of cents every time you play.
Oh, yeah, 2 cents. I'll give you my 2 cents, Leon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, thanks for inviting us, Pat.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for being here, guys, because I really did need some, Sasquatch wubba. I don't know why.
Go outside, have a smoke. Just go outside and have a smoke for a bit and let your body just decompress outside for a minute and then come back in and just let your night unfold. So,
all right. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend's going to kill me, but I'll try.
And I wish I would have met, was it Brian? Was that who was on earlier?
Yeah, Brian. Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever met him before. So, where's he from? Has he got a channel?
Yes. The Southern Bigfoot Alliance. And he's in Oklahoma. So, Squatchy area. So, yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Guys, thanks for being here. Interesting day, interesting night. Please go watch those debates. It was crazy. It was just crazy. I don't know. It was weird. And getting like, I don't know, like, Steve and Leon are kind of like my wooba, like I got.
You'll get through it. I used to do science demonstrations at a science museum in Seattle. Every time I do a demonstration for the first time, without the back, you get this, and you do it a few times, and it's fine. And then what's really tough is when you're throwing the script, you don't have time to really go through it and practice. You don't have time to go review, but someone's out sick. You got to do it today.
Right.
Here you go. Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lockbear, the link is for this debate we're talking about with the academics on Bigfoot. It's in the chat. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I put it in twice. I'm going to put it in one more time. That is the debate. It should be the debate. With Erica. Yeah. So let's see.
And she's a good one to debate for sure.
She was totally gracious and interested. So it was, you know, it was easy to navigate that with her, obviously.
Yeah. And again, I would agree with Steve 100%. Send her our videos. If she watches those last 2 videos I just did, especially with that declaration,
Right?
Up the front, she'll be like, "Holy smokes, this is not what I'm expecting either." So
I will.
Steve's page.
I will reach out to her and Katz.
Yep, both of them.
Yeah, and I will. You know, I told them earlier they were welcome on the platform anytime they want. So I'll reach out to them and try and get them on, or one of them at least.
Yep.
You know, Erica would probably be more likely because she's in our time zone. Katz is in the UK. So you know, if we go on at 9 o'clock at night, my time, you know, it's like, you know, whatever, 2 o'clock in the morning his time. So we'll see. You know, either way, I'll try and make that happen. It was interesting day. Man, I was like,
Go, Pat. Go do your evening, man.
Yeah.
You got 2 more hours before you're gonna even fall asleep, and then you're gonna be playing it over and over just automatically. Just go relax, friend. You did.
Yeah, you're right. You're right,
You
Leon.
did fine.
Yeah.
You can't feed me any more milk, man. Can't suckle from our nipples anymore. There's nothing more for us to give. You just got to let the process happen. Digest what we gave you, and digest what happened to you. You'll do fine.
I agree. And thanks. And so with that, we'll just let it go, guys. Thanks for watching. We still got a lot of people watching, and God, I could just go all night. Let's talk about flat Earth. Come on. I mean, why not? No, but I gotta go. All right. I'm gonna end it.
There's other reasons you got to go. You got to face the music anyway.
She's done with it. She's like, no more freaking streaming today, motherfucker. And with that, I'm gonna end the broadcast. Good night, guys. Thanks for watching. See you.